Oliver Friesen, the CEO of Guardian Metal Resources, is visiting the site of the company's tungsten project in Nevada. The drilling at the Desert Scheelite Prospect is continuing with no announced end date presently, and a steady stream of drill core heading to the labs for assaying. A recent diamond drill core returned 39.3 meters at over 1% tungsten equivalent and 3.45% of copper equivalent. Well, earlier in the day, I spoke to Oliver Friesen about what he was doing on site.
Yeah, Mark, it's great to catch up again. I know last week we were in London talking about this exact hole, PM 24012. And here I am a week later, actually on site. So I'm right now located in Hawthorne, Nevada, which is about 30 meters from our Pilot Mountain project. And here in Hawthorne is where all the core from the project comes. We have a team here of geologists and geotechnicians who analyze the core, they log the core, they prepare it for sampling, they cut the core on site, and then the core gets shipped directly to Reno, Nevada, about 2 hours north of here for analysis. So what we actually have on the bench here is PM 24012, as I mentioned. So on the high end here, we have 83.7 meters. And then as you go towards the right, you go further down the hole, so you're going deeper. On the bottom end, we are at 102.9 meters. So we have just over or about 20 meters of core shown on the bench here. Just a quick sort of recap of what this hole intersected. Number one, it was the best hole ever encountered on our Pilot Mountain project. We had 39.3 meters, so almost a 40-meter continuous interval of very high-grade tungsten mineralization. Within that 39.3 meter interval, it graded just over 1% tungsten equivalent, and on a copper equivalent basis, 3.45. So very significant interval. It's great to see the actual hole in person. As a reminder, that intersection is 39.3 meters, so we have just over half of the intersection actually on the table here. If we did the entire almost 40 meters, it would take up pretty much the entire bench to put into perspective how wide this particular intersection is. So it's great to see it firsthand. Some really exciting visuals here, and obviously looking forward to a lot more progress and drilling on the project as we continue here.
Why is this intersection, this PM 24012, so important for the project? And would you expect other cores to be similar?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's important for a lot of reasons. I think I already mentioned this, but number one, this is the best drill hole ever drilled on the Pilot Mountain project. That's, I think, a really important takeaway here. But also, this is only PM 24012. As an operator now, we acquired this project almost 4 years ago now. This is our first drilling campaign. So to come in here and within the 12th hole intersect the best, or find the best intersection ever recorded on Pilot Mountain is a great outcome for us. Obviously, we're really just getting started here. We're on to hole 26 now, and we've only reported assays up to hole 13. So a lot more holes to come. We're really just getting started. To get an intersection like this is fantastic. Almost 40 meters of very high-grade tungsten mineralization. We have extended intervals of over 1% W3. We have up to 2.9% W3, so some fantastic results. And obviously we're thrilled about this, but more importantly, following up on this zone, looking to test for extensions of this zone. And then also, there's so much more drilling to do as we continue to move towards the west. There's a lot of historical high-grade zones that have been found as we're looking at drilling some of those areas that have lower drill density to see if we can find more zones like this as we continue to expand and understand more about the Desert Scheelite zone.
What exactly does this mean for building out the resource at Pilot Mountain? What depth was the intersection?
Yeah, I mean, it really means a lot of different things. First, I just want to encourage listeners to go to our website, go to the RNS where we talk about this particular drill hole. Figure 2 in particular, really important figure because it shows the cross-section of how this particular hole, the almost 40 meters at just over 1% tungsten equivalent, fits into the previous block model within this area. So as a reminder, a scoping study was done previously, as well as a historic resource was published. And effectively what we've seen within this hole, and what we were expecting to see, was lower grade mineralization. So we were drilling within an area of the resource that had sort of 0.1 to 0.2% W3 in terms of the actual blocks associated with the previous resource. So we sort of drilled expecting to find sort of 0.1, 0.2, maybe 0.3. That was the expectation based on the historical results effectively. But then to come in here and drill an area that has relatively low density and go from, as I mentioned, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 to almost 40 meters of over 1% tungsten equivalent is a really important development. It means that when we do the upgraded resource, this area, we're obviously going to look at upgrading the lower grade blocks that exist there currently with this much higher grade mineralization. It's also important because of the depth. This isn't some really deep zone that you'll need to underground mine to access. This intersection, now I know we're only at 80.7 meters at the high end, but also we've looked at the entire interval. It starts at, I believe, about 66.6 meters is where we start to get into the tungsten mineralization within this broader interval. So 66.6 meters, that's relatively shallow. That's also an angled hole, so from an actual true vertical depth, it's probably about 50-55 meters below surface. But also, once again, in that figure 2 cross section, you'll see the outline of the scoping study pit shell. And that's effectively in the model that they put together previously. That was the area that would have been excavated as part of the open pit. So in a development scenario, that is the area that they were going to mine. Now it's important because effectively this entire interval, almost I think it's about 95% of this almost 40 meter interval is located within the scoping study pit outline. So it's area that we've now taken from low grade blocks to much higher grade based on what we're seeing here in an area that's very near to surface. And once again, in an open pit mining scenario would be accessed anyways. So that's another, I think, really important development about this particular hole.
Well, can we see a close-up of the core that you're looking at, Oliver, and exactly what you're seeing in it?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just, once again, this is sort of the 80 to 100 meters down hole. But hopefully I'll just pull out one piece of core here to get it wet. You can see it. Hopefully you can see that now. Now if I put a light on this, it's very sparkly rock. It's very heavy. What you're looking at here is very high grade semi-massive sulfides is what this is called. So if I put this actual core under a black light, it would sparkle. And I think we actually put a photo of this core or something similar to this on our website. So what we're looking at here is very high grade. I believe this sample ran north, sorry, there's a dog in the background, north of 1% WO3, but this is very heavy. This also has high grade or certainly very elevated copper and silver as well. So that's kind of what this, parts of the high grade section look like here. But that very high grade sulfide material, we're seeing it in extended intervals throughout this hole. That's typically where we're finding our higher grades within this broader interval is these really intense semi-massive sulfide intervals. So glad everyone got to see it now. I'll certainly show some closer up photos on Twitter. We're just getting started here. It's going to be a lot more happening as part of this site visit. And we'll certainly be announcing further updates from the site visit and obviously everything else going on across the business. So hopefully everyone enjoyed this. I got to get going here, but a lot more updates to come from this trip to Nevada. Thanks.
Oliver Friesen there, the CEO of Guardian Metal Resources, talking to us earlier in the day. If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.